Physics Class 11, Chapter 7, Systems of Particles and Rotational Motion. In the last class, we have studied rolling motion. Today, we shall study conservation of angular momentum. If the external torque is 0, then from equation dLz by dt is equal to d by dt of I omega. Okay. Now, this relation I am using. Okay. dLz by dt is equal to d by dt of I omega equal to tau. Right. So, dLz by dt equal to d by dt of I omega equal to tau. Here tau I will take as the external. Okay. So, you can here write as tau external equal to 0. Why? Because I am considering the external torque is 0. So, this tau external value is 0. So, d by dt of I omega equal to 0. What does this mean? That if the derivative of any value is 0, that means this value is constant. Okay, differential of any constant value is always 0. So, this says that d by dt of I omega equal to tau external, which I am taking as 0. So, d by dt of I omega equal to 0. This says that I omega is constant. Okay, so in the absence of the external torque, then the I omega is constant. I omega means I is the moment of inertia and omega is the angular velocity. So, I onto omega is constant. Let us try to understand this by an example. Sit on a swivel chair. Swivel chair means it has got the wheels and it will rotate. Okay, and rotate it with high speed, and after sitting on this you start rotating it. While chair is rotating, stretch your arm, you will feel your angular speed is reduced. Now, when you are sitting on the chair and this chair is rotating, okay, and during that time when it is rotating, that time you stretch your hands, stretch your arms, okay, then what you feel is that the angular speed is reduced. That means you feel that the speed is becoming lesser, okay, becomes less. Now bring back your arms close to your body, and now second time after you bring your arms closer to your body, then what happens that you will feel that the angular speed is increasing. Okay, so when you are stretching the arm, you see that the speed is reducing, but when you bring closer the arms, you feel that speed is increasing. Why it happens? Because if the friction is neglected, okay, there is always friction force, but we consider that the friction is neglected here. There is no external torque. If no friction, if you are neglecting, that means there is no external torque. So if external torque is not there, so according to the conservation of angular momentum, if external torque is 0, external torque is absent, that means I omega is constant. So what does we say? That means I omega is constant. So when you stretch your arm, moment of inertia will increase. Okay, when you stretch your arm, you see that your angular speed is decreasing, that means I is increasing. Okay, this is decreasing, then this is increasing, that this should decrease, right? So what you are feeling when you are stretching the arm, you saw that angular speed is decreasing, your speed is decreasing, that means it says that I will be increasing, resulting in decreasing omega, that is angular velocity, and moment of inertia is increasing, right? Now if you are bringing the closer arm, then you found that your speed is decreasing, right? So if speed is decreasing, that means I will increase. I means moment of inertia will increase. Okay, because the product should be constant. I into omega should be constant. So if I increases, omega decrease. If omega increases, I should decrease. Okay, so if you bring your arms closer, then it has got the opposite effect. A circus acrobat, a diver, skaters, classic Indian or Western dancers performing pirouette, that is spinning about a tiptoe on the toe, etc., take advantage about this principle, or take advantage of this principle, conservation of angular momentum. Okay, so here these are the cases where the people make use, or we use the principle of conservation of angular momentum. Okay, so we can understand this is a statement. The first two lines I have written is a statement. This is one example, or you can say experiment you can do by itself, and here we have applied, in this we have applied that how the I omega remains constant, and these are the uses or the application where people use the principle of conservation of angular momentum. So in this figure you can see that a demonstration of conservation of angular momentum. A girl is sitting on a swivel chair and stretch her arm or brings her arms closer to the body, and you can see that there is a conservation of angular momentum. Example number 7.16. Three bodies, a ring, a solid cylinder and a solid sphere, roll down the same inclined plane without slipping. They start from rest. The radii of the bodies are identical. Which of the bodies reach the ground with maximum velocity? There is a body rolling down without slipping from an inclined plane. Okay, the inclination is theta. The height of this plane is the height of from here it is coming down. This height is h. Okay, and the radius is r. And they have said the radius is identical for all three bodies. Okay, there are three bodies. They have taken ring, cylinder, and solid sphere. Okay, so this is like circular, and the radius is identical. And you have to find which one reaches fast and with a maximum velocity at the bottom. Okay, that is what you have to find out. Assuming the conservation of energy of rolling body, loss of potential energy equal to gain in kinetic energy. Now we consider that there is a conservation of energy. That means how much energy is lost in a potential energy. The loss in potential energy will be equal to the gain in kinetic energy, right? So then only there will be conservation of energy. Okay, loss in potential energy will give you gain in kinetic energy, or loss in kinetic energy will give you gain in potential energy. Then there will be conservation of energy. Okay, now see, it is coming from the height of the this inclined plane is h, right? That means the potential energy at this point is mgh, right? M is the mass, g is the acceleration due to gravity, and h is the height. So the potential energy of the body will be at height h will be given as mgh, and the when it is moving, it is converted into kinetic energy, right? That kinetic energy we know it is given as 1 by 2 mv square, right? 1 by 2 is a constant value, m is the mass, and v is the velocity. Okay, so the loss in the potential energy, when it comes down, it is converted into kinetic energy. So loss in the potential energy will be equal to gain in the kinetic energy. Why? Because we can say that there is conservation of energy. Okay, so here loss of potential energy equal to gain in kinetic energy, and loss in the potential energy will be, potential energy is mgh, right? At the height h, the potential energy is mgh. M is the mass of the body, g is the acceleration due to gravity, and h is the height at which it is positioned, okay, or at which it is starting. And gain in the kinetic energy, so kinetic energy is 1 by 2 mv square, right? Now for rotational body, here we are taking the rolling motion, right? For the rolling motion, the kinetic energy is of two types. Okay, the kinetic energy will be the combination of the translation motion plus the rolling motion. Okay, so kinetic energy is double. Okay, sum or combination of the translation motion and the rotational motion. Okay, so this point is translation motion and other points will be in rolling motion. Okay, and that formula we have derived in the previous class. It is k equal to 1 by 2 m vcm square k square by r square plus 1. Vcm is the center of mass. Okay, so here we write, I am using the same formula. Okay, instead of vcm I am writing the velocity as v. Okay, so I write here 1 by 2 mv square 1 plus k square by r square. Okay, so this formula I am using, which we have derived in the last class, right? That is the kinetic energy for a rolling motion. It is the combination of the translation motion plus rotational motion. Okay, so the kinetic energy is 1 by 2 mv square 1 plus k square by r square. Okay, now from here I want to find the velocity. Okay, so what I am going to do is make v this side and all these values I transfer over here. Then you transfer 2, it will go in the numerator. So 2 mgh, m will go in the denominator, and this 1 plus k square by r square, when you transfer it will go in the denominator. Okay, this m I have missed out, you can just write it here. I have just transfer this m which is here, just transfer over here. Okay, this m when you transfer it will go in the denominator and 2 will go in numerator. V square keep it as it is, and this when you transfer it will go in the denominator. Okay, and this m and this m you cut, so you get here 2gh divided by 1 plus k square by r square equal to v square, right? Now for the ring, k square is equal to r square. K is a radius of gyration, okay, for the corresponding body. So k is a radius of gyration, so here k square is equal to r square for a ring. Okay, for ring radius of gyration is r square, so I put here k value as r square, right? So here v ring equal to under the square, it is square, no? So I write the square root 2gh divided by 1 plus, here if you put r square, k square is equal to r square, so r square by r square is 1, so I put here plus 1, right? So 1 plus 1 is 2, that 2 will cut with these 2, so what you get here is under the square root gh. So this is the velocity of a ring. Okay, next the velocity for a solid cylinder. So for the solid cylinder, the radius of gyration k square is equal to r square by 2. Okay, so I'll put here r square by 2. 2gh by 1 plus instead of k square r square by 2. So when you put r square by 2, you can put here r square by 2 divided by r square, right? This denominator r square remains as it is. So r square and r square you can cancel out, right? So get equal to under the square root 2gh 1 plus r square cut, so here remains 1 by 2, right? That 1 by 2 is here, and this is V cylinder, velocity for the cylinder, equal to, if you take LCM here, 2 plus 1 is 3 by 2, and this 2gh, these two you can take in the numerator, it will multiply with these two, so you get here 4gh divided by 3, that is all under the square root. So velocity of the cylinder is under the square root 4gh by 3. Now next they have asked us the velocity for the solid sphere. So for the solid sphere, radius of gyration is 2r square by 5. Okay, so in this I'll put, instead of k square I'll put 2r square by 5. So put here V sphere equal to under the square root 2gh 1 plus 2r square by 5r square. R square cut, take the LCM, so 5 into 1 5 plus 2, and this denominator take up, so 2gh into 5, all these are under the square root, right? So equal to 5 into 2 is 10 gh, 5 plus 2 is 7, so square root of 10 gh by 7. So what we have found here, the velocity of a ring is square root of gh, velocity of cylinder is square root of 4gh by 3, and velocity of the solid sphere is square root of 10 gh by 7. So comparing all these three velocities, we can say the relation between three velocities is V ring, that is velocity of ring, is less than velocity of cylinder is less than velocity of sphere at the bottom of an inclined plane. So when it is coming down up to here, then the velocity of ring is the least and velocity sphere is the highest. Okay, so velocity of ring less than velocity of cylinder, less than velocity of the sphere at the bottom of the cylinder. We'll keep this much, and with this we end the chapter 7, systems of particles and rotational motion of physics class 11. Okay, we end the chapter here. Thank you very much.